Morning, guys. Good to see everybody. Excited to be here. Camp's going pretty well so far. We're real excited, and got a lot of guys out there eager to work and learn and be taught. The main thing now for us is just learning and teaching, developing the young players, and continuing to develop the older players. That's what we're excited about. We got a lot of talented players back, and they can't become complacent. They got to continue to work hard. And with those guys, they're doing a good job of teaching the younger guys, because we've got some guys who've been in the system for now 2-3 years, some of them, and we're excited about those guys. Last year we did pretty well defensively. Obviously did not finish the season like we wanted to. The last 2 games were defensive disappointments, to say the least, but our kids are focused on that and really excited about working hard, and we're excited about working with them.
Coach, does everybody's role kind of shuffle a little bit with Coach Steele moving on to Clemson, or are things staying pretty consistent in terms of what you're doing and maybe what some of the other coaches will be doing?
It'll be pretty consistent as far as what I'm doing, Coach Saban's doing. Nothing's really changed in that format. Obviously, with the 2 new guys, we're excited about both them. Coach Willis and Coach Sal have done a great job so far and continue to do a great job. So as far as our roles, everything's primarily the same with the exception of 2 new plug-ins in those other 2 slots.
Coach, like you said, you got a lot of pieces coming back from last year, but there is one missing that was pretty, Rashad Johnson leaving. How do you replace that kind of leadership on your defense?
I think everybody takes a role in that. Each player in and of himself, the 9-10 other guys we've got coming back, all got to step it up a little bit, play a little better, and there's a lot of competition out there for those spots, and a lot of competitions at every spot, to be honest. And we're excited about it. We're looking forward to it. And Rashad was a great player, and we wish him well, and we've got to have somebody step up in his place.
Coach, you mentioned some of the older guys are doing a good job of working with the younger guys. Can you talk a little bit about Rolando and what he's been doing to work with the younger guys? A lot's been written that he's not really a talkative kind of guy.
Well, that's interesting. But Rolando's a great kid. He's very talkative to us. He's got a great personality. He's exciting out there on the field. He really enjoys practice, competes, practices hard, and that in and of itself is enough for the younger players to see that and see that's the way you're supposed to practice. That's the way you do things. You have a lot of energy, and that's kind of the way he leads, by his energy.
Coach Smart, in the last 2 games last year, obviously defensively you gave up more points than you would like to give up. Was there anything X and O wise as far as 2 teams that were running a spread offense, a similar offense, or was it just their quarterbacks were experienced guys who play well? What caused that, and sort of what have y'all done in the off season to address that?
Well, I hope we've done enough in the off season to address it. We've obviously met with a lot of people, studied a lot of tape, watched a lot of those type systems. But to say they're similar, that's a little bit of a misnomer to me, because although Coach Meyer was from there, they really weren't very similar, because Florida was going to be a little more physical and power you and run the ball at you, and that's the misnomer of Florida, that they don't run the ball. They do run the ball, and in the fourth quarter they physically beat us. And obviously in the fourth quarter of that game, the whole game, the Florida game, we didn't do a very good job in the red area. We got them down there, and the whole goal was, all right, if they get down there, we're going to hold them to field goals. We get them to third down, they convert all of them, and never really could stop them in the red area. But the Utah situation was a little different. They were a little more finesse and did not try to run the ball at us and just decided to throw the ball. So those 2 were different, and we hope we've addressed some of those things, and all you can do is practice it and attack it, do the best you can, and realize that a lot of teams may elect to copycat that. So that's kind of what the offseason has been directed at, and as well as this camp.
Could you talk about Javier Arenas, how he kind of does what his strengths are as a cover guy, not being the biggest guy out there, and also how important of it. He's obviously got a corner's confidence that doesn't get fazed by stuff.
Obviously a great competitor. Again, he's one of those guys that comes to work every day, to work hard, to compete. It bothers him when they complete a 5-yard out on him, and I think that's what makes him who he is. He's motivated through fear of failure. He's motivated through competitive nature, and he's a great young man to be around. We're excited about Javi. Some of his attributes, he's got great leaping ability. He's strong, very strong for his size, possibly the strongest guy on the team pound for pound. But that's what gives him a chance to compete every day.
Coach, during the offseason, how much of a priority was it to improve the pass rush, and without giving out too much, can you tell us a little bit about what we might see that might be a little different?
Yeah, I tell you, that's a big emphasis for us, as well as we always got to cover better. We always got to do a good job up front, but we got to get better pass rush, and that comes from two things. If you cover a little better, you give them a little longer to get there, and if you get there faster, you don't have to cover as long. So as far as attacking that in the offseason, for us, Coach Sal's done a great job coming from Carolina, where he worked with Coach Fox, who's one of the best there is in the business at rushing the passer. He worked with Julius Peppers. He's brought a lot of new ideas, a lot of new energy, and we're hoping we can improve that. And big emphasis to the front guys that we got to do a better job of getting to the quarterback. And that's traditionally been Coach Saban's style defense, where we've been successful at doing that, and we weren't as successful last year.
Coach, being in the secondary, a lot of times you're closer to Coach Saban than a lot of people just physically on the field. What have you most learned working with him the last few years? And, I mean, you're following a path that some others have under him, and what makes him, a good person to learn under and somebody you've enjoyed working with?
I think it's his attention to detail and his intensity. I think it goes unmatched, the attention to detail he coaches with and the intensity he coaches with. There's not going to be a day that he's going to have a day off. There's not going to be a day that he's not out there with full intensity, bringing his A game, approaching the players, teaching the players, and developing the players. It's not his emphasis is not always what to do. It's how to do it. And that, to me, is what makes him different than most coaches, is he's physically trying to teach you how to do it correctly, how you can improve, and it makes a player appreciate it. If a guy gets beat and you get mad at him for getting beat, it doesn't really help him any. If you show him, how can I improve? What did I do wrong, Coach? That is the teacher in him, and his intensity in doing that is what makes him a great coach.
Following up on that, having been with Coach Saban at two other stops, has the approach he's taken, he took at those stops to getting things going, similar to what he did here, or did he kind of fine-tune some things to kind of fit the state, fit the program, that sort of thing?
That's a tough question for me. I wasn't there at the beginning of the LSU. I was there near the end, and then Miami, I was there the second year. So, again, the approach is to develop young players, get good players, and put them in your system and allow them to develop. I think if you look over his history, the second and third and fourth years he's been places, he's traditionally done better because players buy into the system, they understand the system, they compete harder, he makes them physically tougher, mentally tougher, and develops the player as a whole person. And with that ability to do that, he's had success where he's been.